So I know that story was difficult for Patricia, and one of the things about the science of mind is that we choose to not own illnesses. So you'll hear us language things in a different way. I wouldn't necessarily say to you, if this were true, I wouldn't say to you, I am diabetic. I would say to you, I'm experiencing diabetes. So you always want to distance yourself between your experience. Hello, Patricia, back from the wilderness. She's been all over the world, that woman. And you want to distance yourself from the ailments. Now, this is not to be in denial in a cold way, not by any means. But as you have heard me say many times, you want to protect your I am very closely, because the I am is the perfect prayer. And you want to be careful with anything that follows that I am. So you got to be mindful. You have to mind your mind. Because it is in the languaging that we use that things capture our attention. And then what happens is we find evidence to support what is in our attention. It's a tricky kind of game. My original talk for today was the gift of adversity, and then I switched it. But you covered the whole old title, so thank you. That's good. That's good. I appreciate that. I'm like, oh, good. She took care of that. So I changed my talk to what I learned during my summer vacation, and yes, it's true. I didn't really have a vacation. I would have. Normally, I like taking the last week or 2 weeks of August. It seems to stretch the summer when I do that. However, I'm very excited that on the 21st, Neil and I leave here at 10:25 in the evening, but who's counting? To go to Ireland for 10 days. Yeah. And, I've never been there. He has, but we're going to have a glorious time. We're going to see some mystical sights. And yes, I am kissing that Blarney Stone. He looked at me like, really? I'm like, yeah. I can remember from a kid. Always that on St. Paddy's Day, some news reporter would be over in Ireland and they'd be at the castle and they'd show the stupid tourists laying upside down kissing the stone. So I have to do it, of course. I have to. Explain later. So this summer was 3 months ago we learned we were taking on a new building. 5-6 weeks ago I signed a lease. From the moment I signed the lease, everything else is a blur. Literally, it was just a blur. The experience, the learning, the lessons came fast and furious. And that's good and challenging also, both. There was collective lessons that we learned as a community, learning what we do well and learning what we have to do better. And at the top of the list always is communication. God, if you want to be in a community, you want that community to be workable, work on communication. You want to be in a relationship that's workable, work on communication. You want to have a self that's more full and alive, work on your communication with the power and the presence of the one loving presence within you. It's always about communication. Always. Always. So a few weeks back, we had a visitor from a neighbor. Some of you know this interesting neighbor. I'm not going to repeat the story here, but it's been interesting. Okay, just trust me when I tell you. But what happened was, because of the presence of this person, suddenly, see, we take each other for granted. We take our language for granted. We take our kindness for granted. I know that we gossip. I know that behind the scenes, some of us gossip, some of us complain. I get it. I could bitch and moan with the best of them. But most of us do that less and less and less. And most of us do not have that as our main form of communication anymore. right? It's the lesser part of us. Thank God for that. So even when we're in a group, pretty much we're feeling safe. And I think it's hard to realize how far collectively we have all come until one walks in amongst us that is not in the culture. And they point out, just out of their behavior, the growth that we've all done. It was shocking. So shocking that there were times some of us in the room were looking at each other during a conversation. We were looking like, did she really say that? You know, the kind of things we don't say to each other or about anybody. It was just that kind of, it was that graphic. So I went home that night, and somewhere about 2 o'clock in the morning, I got woken up again because I couldn't help but feel so appreciative of who we are. And this was one of the main lessons. I learned about what we have all learned about. It became really loud in my mind, and I had to get up and I had to capture it. And I captured it with this document that we'll now be handing out in our new welcome packets, and it's called Within These Walls. And this is what I know about us. This is not the fancy science of mind stuff. This is not the spiritual philosophy. This is where the rubber meets the road with us. And this is why I love who we are so much. We accept total and complete responsibility for our lives and for the experience of our lives. So some of us might not be accepting that fully, but we're always on the road to that. Everything we do is to work toward that. We believe in the unity of one life, and we create a loving and ongoing relationship with this one life. Is that not what you're doing? Through prayer, through meditation, through communing, we're looking to find out about that omniscience and the omnipotent presence. We're looking to consistently develop that relationship. Through this relationship, we create a beautiful, glorious, and joy-filled life. Sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we still let joy not be our guiding principle, but that's what we have to work toward. We practice non-gossip. We practice non-judgment. We blame no one for our life situation, or hopefully not. Sometimes I understand it slips in, but if they're not what we're doing, they're what we're seeking to do. We practice non-complaining. Okay, so we speak words of kindness, acceptance, and love. We are honest and speak the truth. We live authentic lives where we learn to be true to ourselves while still being kind to others. We believe that we are all original blessings and that we are not now and have never been an original sin. Ain't having it. We practice speaking, thinking, and imagining our lives as vital, workable, and vibrant. And hopefully we remember that. A day, if you haven't learned to meditate yet, if you haven't learned spiritual mind treatment yet, you do know how to use your imagination. So a time well spent is a time spent imagining life as joy-filled, as prosperous, as healthy, as fun, just as fun. We believe in service and community. We have proven that. We seek to be good and responsible citizens. We practice being in integrity at all times. I was late today. I have to own that. But then we practice forgiveness of ourselves and others. So, okay, I was late and now I'm forgiving myself. We live a life where we are always practicing gratitude. We believe in prayer as a life transformational tool, and while we believe in our innate perfection, it is okay to feel, to be angry, and to make mistakes. Yes. Over the years, many years ago, very often I was misquoted as that we weren't supposed to feel. I have never said that. If any of you ever think that I said that, I have never said that. Even to be angry prompts change. I'm sure part of Patricia's redirection, she was pissed off, I'm sure, part of what was happening, and didn't want to accept what was happening. And in choosing not to accept it, she changed the direction. So sometimes that's okay. It's just you don't want to linger in it, because lingering in it affects your body temple. You cannot sustain anger, sustain jealousy, sustain judgment, and expect to be healthy. You can't do it. So I had a lot of opportunity to remember and relearn some of these things this year, because a lot of what was going on, there was just a lot of conversing, a lot of activity, a lot of exhaustion. There was lots of conversations. I paid close attention to many, many things this summer. And this is one thing I want you to remember. When in doubt, no matter what's going on, never condemn what is. Never. Don't condemn your broken heart. Don't condemn the illness. Don't condemn the loss of the job. Don't condemn the divorce. Don't condemn one who's being unkind. Never condemn anything or anyone. Why? Because it lives within you. Number 2, never compare yourself to anyone. Ever. Never compare yourself to anyone. When you compare, you are competing and you are dying a slow death. You are more whole, more perfect, exactly as you are. Stop. When your direction is here to do something for yourself, just cease looking to the left and the right. Unless you're looking for your supporters. Unless you're looking for those who hold you up. Don't look at a comparison, though. Do you understand? Very important. The full you, being the fully expressed you, means you just stop looking around. Well, Dr. Ken was here. We had a barbecue for him on Monday, so he got to experience an American Labor Day barbecue, and he got to experience it in New Jersey. Okay, what better place to have a Labor Day barbecue? Okay. So I'm supposed to be taking him into the New York City the next day to go see Reverend Wade of the First Church of Religious Science in New York City. It used to be one of the largest churches in the movement. And so we were going in there to see their new building and visit and such and go out to lunch. And then Dr. Ken says to me, "So what else are we doing while we're in New York?" And I thought, oh no. I'm not that well traveled. I like to take my car. I don't just pick up and do things like that normally. I'm not. No, I'm not. So he wants to go to a play. So we were all in conversation about New Jersey and how New Jersey people are great and who we are and our feistiness and, all of that. And I'm all over that one, right? So he says, okay, we're going to go see Jersey Boys. Okay, good. I'm happy to do that. I'll be reminiscing. So we're going to do that, but now I'm thinking I'm going to drive my car in. And everyone there says, oh, no, don't drive. Take the ferry, do this, do that. I'm like, So now I'm suddenly confronted with so many things that I don't know, that I am not comfortable with. I am not a public transportation girl. I like my car. I like parking lots. I'll pay any amount of money to park. But I thought, okay, opportunity. Opportunity to learn something new. And you've heard me say this before, but I want to strike this point, because I know that some of you sometimes, you still accept certain fears as normal. But what I'm telling you is that behind every fear, it is so much more than just that fear itself. So let's say you're afraid of snakes. You're afraid of snakes. And you say to yourself, I'm not going to have this own me anymore. I am no longer going to be afraid of snakes. The first thing I'm going to guarantee you is you're going to see a snake. That's the first thing. Be prepared. Because when we choose, right? When we choose to transcend something, that which it is slaps us right in the face. So we almost always have an immediate opportunity to test the waters and to see that. But when we do that, and so actually I was at the lake yesterday with my grandbaby and my son, and a water snake went by, and so all the long thing, and so everybody was getting out of the water. We were calm though. I mean, nobody panicked. They just stepped out of the water. My son was calm. I'm calm. I'm like kind of, ooh, this is cool. But my grandbaby was terrified, which I don't really know how she adopted that when we were all in this calm state, okay? Anyway, that's a slightly different part of this. So if this snake comes by you and you're normally afraid and you choose not to be, that's going to be a test, a little test of your faith. So when you choose again, so you got to decide, and then you got to choose to commit to what you decided, right? It's not just the snake you're going to get over, but I guarantee you behind that is a wound, a story, something from your past. That snake is representing something. It could be almost anything. But you don't just get to not be afraid of snakes, you get to have more freedom. And the freedom of not being afraid will take you not just with the snake, but with a variety of other things. So now I got to challenge myself to take the water ferry, to take the taxis, to go into New York, not knowing what I was doing and where I was going. And I was like, oh, look what I did. I put on my big girl panties and I took Dr. Kennett to New York. So I learned that I have an edge. I still have the learning edge. Letting go is part of that. I learned to let go a lot this summer. I know Jeff, oh, there you are. You're in the back, Jeff. So we're in the kitchen, and Jeff is being so respectful. So respectful. And he's trying to give me choices of colors for the room. And I'm like this. I would have had this room be purple. I said, Jeff, I'm not very good with colors. And he's, trying to be respectful. He goes, well, look at this and look at that. And I'm still glazed over. And he doesn't realize I'm glazed over because he's really trying to be respectful. And he goes, well, you want to consider this and you want to consider that. And glazed look hasn't gone away. But Marilyn has walked in the kitchen. I thought, oh, good. Her I'll trust. And then Neil came in. And I'm like, oh, him I trust. And I looked at Jeff and I'm like, you got them. And I walked out of the room. Look what happened, right? So I had to consistently learn that there's certain things I don't have to be attached to. They're not mine to do. I don't have the expertise. I had to just trust. So a lot of the summer was trusting the experts that surrounded me. I mean, I had an opinion about my office, but I didn't have to have an opinion because this isn't mine, this is ours. And I was going to do ours not very well, but he and they did ours very well. Very well. I learned so much about selflessness. As people came in late at night, after full days of work, climbed up on the high scaffolding to paint the nitty-gritty little details of stuff. And I got to learn about selflessness in a way I hadn't really known it before. I got to learn this summer that I can disagree with Dr. Ken. Because I don't always agree with him. And I love not agreeing with him. Because it's a sign of my personal growth and how we have enough respect for each other that there's room for that. So when we are mature metaphysical people who are learning to love ourselves, we can be in communication and in conversation and not have to agree. And it's safe. It's safe. And the one main lesson I learned, not just this summer, but 6 months ago when we found out we didn't have to leave. See, we could still be at 662. It's probably going to take them a year or 2 years to sell that piece of property. And I guarantee they would have loved nothing more than our $3,100 monthly. I'm sure of that. But I knew when I heard it that it was time for us to take our future in our hands. I knew it was time. I knew we had matured enough. And I trusted my intuition more confidently than ever before in my life. And when we came and we saw the building, I knew it was the most faithful I have ever been. I knew we were in the right direction. And I said to the few board members, I'm not going anywhere unless we go together. And so everything that we did as a collective. And we brought individuals in here. And the enthusiasm, would you like water? Okay, just make sure you're okay. The overwhelming enthusiasm. So my confidence and my faith was met with your support. Confidence is not something that you get just because you've learned to do something right. Confidence is what you cultivate by choice. You must choose to cultivate confidence. Anybody have a dream that it feels like it's bigger than you right now? I hope so. I hope many of you have a dream. So you don't wait for the dream to start. You start cultivating the confidence first, because your expansion comes out of that. Do you understand? If you wait to have to prove it to yourself, it's too late. You start with assuming, with speaking it, with declaring it, with claiming it. And then your consciousness and your knowing and your understanding will expand to pave the way for you to walk joyfully toward your dreams. Faith first. Confidence first. Kindness above all things. Trusting yourself always. Speaking words that are affirmative. This is who we are as practitioners, all of us. Dr. Holmes called us all practitioners. As practitioners of the science of mind, this is who we are. Don't go home and forget the lessons. Don't go home and behave differently. Bring what you have learned home. Be the reason why somebody wants to come here. Be the reason when someone looks at you and they see how you feel and how kind you are and your gentleness. Be that. And let someone ask you, what do you do? What do you believe? This is just good, solid stuff. Good, solid, workable stuff. And the beautiful thing is, when we left 662 Eagle Rock, most of us, I don't know about the rest of you, if any have any broken hearts out here, but those of us involved, we left complete. We left complete because we did the right thing. We prayed our way here. We prayed our way here. We visioned our way here. And when we entered here, it became our home. Right, Jeff? It became our home. But each one of us, these are the practices. There is the theory of the science of mind. There's deep principles. There's all the influences that were upon Dr. Holmes. But the part that matters right now is how the steps you take when you open the door to your home, when you engage someone. Who are you in that moment? You understand? Beautiful. Let's treat. If you will, hold the hand of someone next to you. Let's make connection. So what I'm going to treat for is I'm going to treat for confidence for each one of us, because confidence expands us like nothing else does. So what I know right here and right now, in this perfect and beautiful, glorious moment, that there is the activity of God, the activity of mind, the activity of love that is present right here in this room right now. That right here and now there is movement and expansion of mind and heart and soul. I declare for each one sitting here, for everyone who listens to a podcast, for everyone who sees the video, that there is an experience of an expansion of confidence within your life like you have never known before. Confident in your decisions, confidence in how you walk, confidence in how you show up, confidence in your intelligence, confidence in your love. There is an expansion of confidence in your life that opens the doors wide to good, beautiful, and glorious things. You are so much more, not something you weren't. You are so much more of yourself, so much more joy, so much more love, so much more possibility that is living inside all the time. And as we say yes and we breathe and we accept and we allow, this activity opens up through our beingness and we expand in the most beautiful and glorious ways. I bless you. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to follow your dreams, to activate them, to live life healthfully, prosperously, and madly in love. For this good and so much more, I am infinitely grateful. And I surrender this word to love and to law. And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you all.